You guys have all witnessed my struggle with solar. I've got a very small, but very beloved, you can see it up there, what turns out to be an RV level solar system. Little 100 watt panels joined together, barely keeping things afloat. This video is going to be about how we fix that problem. Basically, I learned that a couple weeks ago, I found out all on the same day, it was actually quite a whirlwind, that the panels that you put on houses are half as expensive, even less if you buy used, half as expensive and twice as powerful. Almost twice as big, but that's fine. So that very same day, I looked on Facebook Marketplace and found a pair of used panels, actually from a guy that had stopped by here once when Jim and Liam were here. Kind of a trip. I remember him giving us his flyer, calling himself the solar guy, and I, thanked him for it and then immediately put it in the fire because I figured I knew everything there was to know, because that's just kind of how arrogant I am. But yeah, he's been fantastic. I got 2 panels from him that same day, kicking the Pecron up from, charging on 2 100 watt panels to charging on 2 275 watt panels. And instead of never charging in a day, it charged in about 4 hours. So loving that, I told him to hold the last 2 that he had for me, and I just picked those up today. So we're going to be charging at 1100 watts on the Pecron, and yeah, it's going to be great. Anyways, this video is going to be that solar panel platform build, and it's going to get us to where we need to be, both for the bathhouse and frankly, it's also going to power the cabin when we put that up. All right, so enjoy the ride. Got to do some configurating. Trying to figure out the best place to put this solar array for those panels right there. Problem is all these trees. I was going to put it right next to where the boat shack is going to go. Like, this is the most open space we have as far as, the sun hitting the panels. As soon as I go on the other side of this tree right here, I start dropping my angle of sun a lot. If I chop down that tree, that solves a number of my problems, but that would also break my heart. So I'm thinking it needs to go here where my super fancy workbench is, because that's not bad. So the question is, I was originally going to build my cabin 8 feet away from the bathhouse, which is about there. But I've since learned they at least want it to be 10 feet, which is here. And also I was going to put it so the 10 foot, it's going to be 10 by 15. I was going to put it so the 10 foot was facing this way and the 15 feet was going to go that way. But the tail end of that would be blocking the solar array. So I think I'm going to pivot that. Like I said, started at 10 feet, maybe even more. Maybe bring it out to 15 feet, go 15 feet this way, this direction, because where the container home is going to go it's not blocking that at all. And it was always going to overlap. It'll just overlap more. Remember to put up the diagram. Then I think I've got my spot. So I can still go get all the, crap for it today. I just won't start sinking posts until tomorrow. I think that's the way to do this, because I'm going to have 1100 watts of, haven't really talked about these. Those are 275 watt panels each. So I will have 1100 watts of power coming into the Pecron. Right now, I've got 200 watts coming into the Pecron, and it struggles. When I plug it into these, it charges super fast. But I don't want to stifle that by, putting a building in front of it. Cabin will be here, which means got to stop parking cars here. My notions of having great open spaces is just right out the door. Although there is another option. All right, help me think through this. I could make this structure a temporary structure. Maybe this has legs. If I make this a temporary structure and then just mount these on the cabin once it's built, then I don't really give a crap where I put it. That might be the ticket, because I would hate to have just so many buildings right here that I'm like, when I walk off my path here and just like I'm bringing a bucket of water, for the shower, it is a minor pain in the butt to weave in and, around my workbench, the hammocks there, minor irritants, okay? Cry me a river, right? The more buildings I put there, the more of that I'm going to permanently have. So if I make this a temporary structure, eventually these will live on top of, I think we got that. They'll live on top of the cabin. Okay, that works for me. That kind of takes the pressure off. I might skip cementing it in that case. Maybe I'll cement one leg. I'll do some thinking, because if it's temporary, then it only has to last a couple of months, and none of them hurricane months. All right, I'll keep you posted. Get it? Posted. Talking about cementing posts. I'm just too freaking funny. You guys have a good one.
You do want to measure where the brackets go and make these distances the same. Right. So that this is square. I made sure all 4 posts were square. It's just a 2x12 header.
And these are covered in, what was the 50-50 mix again?
All motor oil and diesel fuel.
Okay. I did want to talk about my friend the solar guy. I think I'll see him again. He is. He's pretty awesome. I spent some time with him today just kind of going over, because he has a rack kind of like the one I'm about to build, solar rack. So we'll have the boat shack, the solar rack, and the bathhouse. This guy's awesome. You have my respect, buddy. But yeah, he sells really good panels at a fair price, so I respect that too, because he can get a lot more for them. And I hope that he has our business in the future, because we still have to outfit Jim's buildings. These are those insulation pads we accidentally bought online, not paying attention to the thickness, but they've actually turned out to be pretty decent for padding stuff like that. I do not like that noise. These are beautiful. They come pre-coated in pollen. These are REC Twin Peak BLK series, 275 watt. They are super slick. I'm a fan, in case you can't tell. Well, I hadn't planned on doing this because it doesn't make any sense effort-wise, but because I've turned into a bit of a solar nerd and I have zero patience, I brought all 4 panels out. Precariously perched, to say the least, but they're all plugged into the Pecron. The Jackery couldn't handle this much. Potential solar, 1100 watts. When I first plugged it in, it was fairly overcast and I was getting about 500 watts, which was still excellent. These are closer to the proper tilt. Even just that little shade in the corner will drop its efficiency, but I am done messing with this. Enough of my nerd itch has been scratched. But fact of the matter is, cloudy days is what Florida is all about. So on a cloudy day, okay, that's pretty pitiful, you know, but still it says it can charge from 40% up to 100% in 4.5 hours, you know, even when it's cloudy like this. So I'm happy. Yeah, of course, not a cloud behind me, but when you look, even just those clouds right there, that's all it takes to block. It is exciting to see them all laid out like that. I'm gonna go do other crap. So I am your object lesson of why you shouldn't just trust ChatGPT with calculations, which normally I'm pretty happy to do because I suck at math. Now that I've dug these 2 holes, which she said my panels were going to go in landscape mode, which that makes a run of 11 feet. So she says, well, put the posts 11 feet apart. Problem is the uni strut that we're connecting these to are only 10 feet long. And I didn't stop to figure that out until I'd already dug the second freaking pole. So I get to do it again. Thank heaven I didn't figure that out after I put the cement in. Obviously I moved my workbench. It's now over there. It's very happy. I'm just going to do these back 3 posts today because I'm not 100% certain these cement bags won't turn into concrete if I leave them over the weekend and I leave at 5 in the morning. The sun is almost down and I still have to go into town. I'm doing this. Here we go. Oh, and I wasted rock down there too. Gosh dang it. That's my own freaking fault. So long, rock. Sorry, you don't deserve this. Did a bit more recalculation and it turns out I don't, since we're doing these in portrait mode now, I don't need 3 posts in the front and the back. So this is a 4-post scenario. I'm going to get to cementing. That's good because now I have 3 bags for 2 holes and I think that'll be a lot better. I am losing my son quick, so losing the son. I'm not losing any of my sons, but I have spares. Just kidding, boys. All right, talk to you later. Alrighty, I am back from down south. It's lunchtime and I am itching to get some projects done here. Specifically, I want to get those bad boys from being tenants in my bathhouse, especially because I made them such nice poles before I left. These things are super solid, which is good. So I'm going to go dig the other 2 posts and then get these things mounted. Shouldn't take long. We'll see. I've got the Pecron charging right now just because this is like beautiful sun. Again, that's not the right angle. Let's get them mounted so we can have the right angle. The last of the parts came in for, because I'm going to need to go from, this solar rack into the bathhouse where the Pecron lives so that I don't have to bring it out here all the time. So those just came in today, so probably be a tomorrow thing because I need to snip the wires, run conduit underground. I'm not going to pierce the wall. Like that's going to be a first thing in the morning kind of a thing because I just don't want to deal with it at nighttime just in case something goes wrong and I need to start getting creative to plug holes. So I'm going to get to work digging because I love digging. Not going to make the obvious joke that I made last week. Enjoy the show. Okay, work day is over and I've got limited sunlight, so let's get putting these 2x6 beams up. I know you can't tell because the panels aren't here anymore. I'd shifted them over to here because of the shade. Now I've put them on the west side facing dead west just to get a bit more time out of the sun. Alrighty. Yeah, not sure why I thought that was going to work. Give you another view of what we've built so far. So the uni-strut will go horizontal across it, 3 of them, and the panels will go on top of that. Let's go see how the Becron's doing with 2 of the 4 panels. Hey, I was hoping to get to 70% and we're at 75%. So we're still getting 400 watts and it is 6 o'clock. That's impressive. And I just dropped it down to something less than that because of my shadow. So I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to go take a break, maybe think about what I'm going to have for dinner and decide if I'm going to move on to the uni-strut tonight. I got nothing to say. See ya. All right, welcome to the new workbench. So I had to think, I came up with a middle ground. Instead of trying to rush these uni-strut onto the frame, I took the time to locate my angle grinder so I can cut these now. I haven't used my angle grinder since before I built the bathhouse, so it was buried. But I found it because otherwise I was going to mount these, you know, with like 4 feet hanging off the end, and that would not have been cool. So we are going to cut these down to 80 inches because each of the panels is 39 inches wide and we want each to have a 1/2 inch gap, like all together, so there's an inch gap. Just want to make sure I'm measuring thrice and cutting once here. Now part of me had thought, hey, let's wait till nighttime to, to cut these, because that would be for some really cool, action shots of sparks going everywhere. You can do the slow-mo thing. Hey, if that sun hurries up, we might get some of that. But there's the bigger part of me that says, self, you've never done this before, so what do you say we skip the theatrics and just kind of get it done? In truth, I would not mind having these done and on tonight. I don't insist on that, but boy, wouldn't that be cool. Bloop. And listen to that wind. We really need to get some wind turbine collection going here. All right, let's go fire up the generator and learn how to do this. Now, those of you that have been following along since the beginning might remember when I tried to use this on my brother's old generator, and generator started right up, even though it's ancient and been sitting around for a decade, but it didn't produce power. And that was to cut rebar. And I got these metal cutting pads and we never actually got to test them. So let's see what happens. That's encouraging. So now let's see what happens. Did I kill it? Dude, that'll bum me out if I killed it. Man, that is a very old angle grinder. I'm gonna try plugging this into something else. Killed the angle grinder. That sucks. What the crap? I don't see like a fuse or anything on this. Man, you try to do something right. You take the time to find the tool. Oh yeah, that smells good. I can hear my younger brother through the internet. You heard the engine bogging down, you were pushing it. Yes, I probably was. This is 12 gauge. This is really thick stuff. Man, if I have to use a freaking hacksaw on this, that's gonna suck. All right, I'm gonna come up with plan B, which is probably gonna be just mount these freaking things and cut them later. There's a fine line between tenacity and obstinacy. I found my hacksaw. We're gonna see how this does. Nope. 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 Lovely tool, not for this, ×3. That will put me in the hospital. At least it'll put my arm in the hospital. So, garbage for light duty use. Yummy. So I'm getting ready to mount the first set of panels here, and I just cracked open the panel hardware I got from Amazon. Just want to run through this with you. I'm totally new to this, but I think I've decoded how it goes because no instructions. Let's check it out. So we've got two different kind of clamps here. These clamps over here, these are the end clamps. So like the edge of the panel will come under here. So this is the panel lengthwise. So I got this cool almost Z bracket looking thing. And these ones over here are the mid clamps. They'll live in the center here, so the middle of both panels will slide into one of these and be squished down by that, I think. Let's go find out. Okay, so let's get these panels up before the storm totally hits. First, we're going to stack the deck, because this middle rail is the equator from top panels to bottom panels. They're going to go right on top of these, and it's metal on metal, and they'll just go whoop, unless we persuade them that that is wrong thinking. Sorry, I'm also tending a fire at the same time, so if I look distracted, it's because I am. The rains are going to start, so I need a fire already burning before all my tinder gets wet. Cool thing is that this solar rack is also going to be my woodshed. Okay, let's stack the deck. Okay, let's do this. My arms are shot. This is not the first time I've done this. Boop, boop. Okay, nice. Okay, and what I need to do is create a low-tech widget to push the panel up so that it's halfway through that channel, because right now it's completely flush with the bottom of the channel, which is not okay. And I got to be careful, because if I push it too far, it's going to fall right off, and then I'll cry. All right, that gets me just about halfway through the panel. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, so that channel there, this is the bottom of the top panel, and then the top of the bottom panel will go right there. It'll be clamped together by a mid clamp. So I've got this little shim just sort of holding things for me at pretty close to the half point. That might be perfect. Whoop. Back to the show. Alrighty. That might be just perfect. I preemptively put on the raincoat to make sure it doesn't actually start raining. Nope. Stop being stupid. Gravity. You hate me. So I've got a security camera coming to point right at these things. Right now I've got two security cameras that sort of point around these things. And I'd love to swap out some of these just regular Allen wrench fittings with like a secure socket or a secure, it's basically an Allen wrench boop, with a boop with a pull or a pin in the middle. Makes it a little harder to walk off with. All right, so far so good. Let me just sanity check the squareness of the middle of this. Spot on, nice. All right, let's go for some mid clamps. These are the mid clamps. They're gonna sit right in the middle of the two panels and that is, if they love me. See, and I can't cinch these down too much because then the other one won't slide in. So actually, I'm just gonna leave it right like that because we are just about ready for number 2 panel, not number 2. Sorry, I'm still 5. Actually, I'll be honest, what you're hearing is absolute giddiness to have this done because I am tired of a lot of things. Tired of running out of power, that's obvious. Tired of carrying these panels in and out of my bathhouse several times a day. And this rack is gonna solve both. And it's just my fervent hope that my fellow man doesn't say, whoa, look at those racks that are only held on by Allen wrenches. Let's go help ourselves. At least not until I have my security cameras up, because then I can identify them. Oh, that hurts my heart. Okay, who stuck that ladder there? The thing I'm gonna love the most about these panels is I won't have to climb up on a ladder to wash them. That would be my finger. Gonna need that long term. Nice. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Just slide over. Be a nice little widget thingy. Dude. I think these all might need to go over. As my mom would say, a skosh. Ah, frack. All right, this is just fine-tuned adjustments. This is nothing going wrong here. Oh, yeah, I should have made these a little bit. I should have made these 81 inches long. I'll remember that for the bottom one because these things are right on the edge. I mean, once they're in, but like I said, I'm thinking security here. They're in full contact with the upper part of the uni strut. I'll show you that, but I just wish they had more meat. Darn, lost my paint stirrer forever. Nope, okay, that's as far as I can go. So this one will have to go in some. I need another paint stirrer. Found another tent stake. It can go to the stake center. Or it can help me fish out my paint stirrer. Nope. Okay, I got the adjustments done. Just giving these a final nudge towards tightness. Really should get like maybe putting a piece of rubber, like rubber washer or something, just to, I feel like that would make it so I can squeeze tighter, make it more grippy without actually cinching down on the metal frame. Yeah, this one is just barely holding on. Just let go. Okay, that's 2 spiders I've killed on this thing in just like the last couple of minutes. And this thing has lived in my bathhouse for like the last 2 weeks. I'm not gonna do the bottom 2 until tomorrow. Mostly because, as you see, I broke my hacksaw. Angle grinder that we have on order just arrived, so I'll go get that. So what I'm going to do, let me zoom in and show you this. Think of this 4x4 as training wheels. So I need to wake up in the morning and see that this gap has maintained itself, which means that these clamps are doing their job. Because down here, we're not gonna have a safety net 4x4. Because those bad boys are going to hang over like probably over a foot, well over a foot. Look at this. I mean, that's Judas, that's closer to 2 feet over. Still plenty supported. And you see how this one here is just flush with the side. That's not stellar, but it's fine. This one here is just hanging over. That is subpar. This one right here is like sticking out. That sucks. That's where I keep saying I should have cut these another inch longer. This one here, off camera, I took everything apart and slid it this way like a 1/4 of an inch. So that made this one an okay bite. So I'm happy with that. So the last one I'll cut bigger. These poor cables have been dragging in the dirt for 2 weeks. So we are going to set these up. Each set are going to be in series because the Pecron has a max of 600 watts per input. And there's 2 inputs, and these combined come to 1100 watts. So we connect the positive and the negative of these guys. And then these guys plug into my super fancy Pecron MC4 to whatever the crap Pecron. Looks like an old microphone plug. So these will just kind of come down here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just going to dress the, I want the MC4 connectors to remain under the, as a matter of fact, I think I'll just take these right down here. And then I'm going to have a piece of waterproof conduit, like the extension MC4s will come here and just kind of go whoop right over there. That's the plan. So I got to find my zip ties so I can dress these properly because I do not need these dangling down. Big step. I'd go get the Pecron and say, man, look how much solar we're getting, but we're not getting any bloody solar today. I told Jim, I know I'm going to get this job done today because what other day would I do a epic shift of my power needs than on a day where I can't demonstrate the solar capability that we now have. Anyways, thanks for coming along. I think that's it for today. Yeah, awesome. So I just want to show you guys, I went ahead and did all the cable management here. So I got everything zip tied up to the unistrut, and then these MC4 connectors are just waiting for the extension cables that will run down here under the ground and boop, plug right in there. Anyways, wanted to show you guys clean look. Hopefully that will all be done tomorrow. The happy news is these are bolted in there. I'm not taking these into my bathhouse ever again because that was getting old real quick. So talk to you later. Okay, so I have given myself my lunch hour to do the thing that I have been shying away from for a couple of days, and that is pierce a hole in my wall. And I'm doing it on my lunch hour because that lights a fire under my butt. So I gotta get this done in an hour. This is to connect the solar rack to the bathhouse. Gosh, I think my head is just built crooked. I am going to be taking off for about a week down south. And I measured out the length that the PV cable is going to need to run to get from the bottom set of panels to the bathhouse, and it's more than I have. I've got this 20-foot length of 10 gauge PV cable, and I thought I could cut that in half and just crimp the ends, but 10 feet can connect the first 2 panels and reach the bathhouse. Can't do the second, so I just ordered a second line. So I'm not going to bring out the solar panels to just sit here for a week that I'm gone, not even charging anything. So I'm going to hold off on that, which means I'm wrapping up this video only mostly done. I'll have half the power connected to the Pecron, which is plenty, especially since I won't be using it. So anyways, the first step, so I got these wall penetration specifically made for solar cable. First thing was to make sure that they accommodated 10 gauge because they're very narrow, and they do, so that's great. Normally I would dig the trench, get everything done here, and then at the very last second, drill the hole in the wall. I have to do that backwards this time because I need to know where the hole is going to come out so I know exactly where to dig the trench. And I realize even just me here talking to you guys is me still hedging so I don't have to drill a hole in my wall. So I'm gonna go do it. See you in a minute. Okay, no guts, no glory. Man, I hope that went through because I can't bring myself to do that twice. Yep, that's a hole, all right. Ooh, it's a nice hole too. All right, sanity check. Boop, right in. Whoa, come on now. Okay, yeah, not a problem. Okay, let's start digging trenches. First, we need to put some of this super duper high-tech blocking to use. Boop. That should do it. Now I know this is kind of a tough lighting angle just because it's so bright out and this causes instant shadow, but we're gonna make the best of it. And double I need you guys to appreciate what I do for you. I could stand in the shade and shuffle this, but your back would be to me. No, that would be neat. My back would be to you. Instead, I'm gonna stand in the sun in the heat, tilt my hat like freaking Frank Sinatra. Every time I dig like this without, you know, putting my foot on it like a man, I always think of all the times my younger brother and I are sitting there watching some TV show where you see Hollywood actors pretend to know how to dig and they don't use their feet. It's like, well, this is Florida sand. More often than not, you don't need to put any effort into it until you get a root. Okay, I think I've dug enough. Let's start running cable. Perfect fit. Also nice. Nice. Okay. Shoot, I might not even have to cut anything. Whew. It is a hot one. Oh, dang it. I am going to have to cut all sorts of stuff. See, I don't want to use a 90 degree on this because, again, cable is not like making sharp right turns or left turns. It's not really picky that way. So I got 4 45 degree angles, so I'll need another one of those. No idea how this next bit's going to go. Wow, that actually went quite well. So again, not that there's going to be any water getting through this or anything, but I'm not sure if you can see that. This is just a cap for a 1.5-inch pipe. I'm just going to put this both on this side and on that side and just run the cables through there because I could silicone that much easier than, you know, an 1.5-inch hole. Just, that's more for keep the bugs out than anything else. Okay, I think we're at that point. This is where the fun begins. Hopefully this is going to go swell, but professionally speaking, this never goes swell. And when I say professionally speaking, I mean because cable chasing is something I've done my whole career. Never fun. We're going to make this super long. Okay, I'll need 2 of those. What I'm doing here is making a chase cable for the next 2 wires that obviously I'm not going to be able to unearth all this pipe and to run the next 2 cables. So I'll just run these pull cables along with the 2 PV cables and hopefully it'll just sort of feed through nicely. Again, I know I might say this a lot, but that's going to be where an extra set of hands would be super helpful. It's okay. I always end up doing this alone, mostly because of my personality, not because I didn't have coworkers around that would help. Okay, we'll do this one segment at a time. Down you go. Boop, boop. Okay, those are through, and we're going to tie the end to something that cannot possibly go flying down the tube. Now for the real fun, I think I should probably separate these because they will choose to fuster collect themselves quicker than anything. Yep. They already did. Didn't you get? So far so good. Okay. Chose pink because we support the fight against breast cancer and because that's what I had. All right, let's draw some of this back. This is where it gets fun. Got an idea that I know all my, well, Chris at least is probably screaming, get tape. I don't know that I have tape. Lowe's house wrapping tape. That's what I got. So I got these 4 things sticking out here. So we are going to, the difficult part of chasing cable through conduit or down walls or whatever is when you're trying to push against like an angle, instead of just going for it, it wants to bend up and plug stuff. So we're going to try to fight against that by taping it into one slightly more rigid, I don't know, snake. I just ran out of words for the day. All right, but for now, just get me through the 45. And the black cable instantly binds up. Why can't you be like the red cable and just sit there and nicely uncoil? So far, so good. So obviously I wouldn't be able to push the pink cable like this. My evil plan is working. The pink cable is choosing to get wrapped up in my boots. Boop. Ha 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 ha. I love it when a plan comes together. Alrighty. So now, let's rotate this whole thing. The only part of the plan that's getting dicey now is you. Because I can make this happen, no problem. It's videoing it. Alright. You can pull more through than that. I feel the back of my neck burning. Don't bind up, you're so close. Oh, dude, that's great. Up the pole you go. And we're through. Okay. That's the solar panel end, that's the building end. Cap number 2 created. And this is where the fellowship ends, I'm afraid. Got to break up the band here. Just want to be real careful with, I don't cut the shielding on the actual cable. Pull cable 1 through, pull cable 2 through, PV positive through, PV negative through. What a freaking lark. This is great. All right, nice. Conduit built. Let's go bury it. Okay, this is going to be about as graceful as a buffalo trying to square dance here. So, oh, look at that. Never actually seen a buffalo try to square dance. Yep. Bada boom. Alrighty, you guys can just go and kind of chill up there for now. I do need a lot more than that. Wow, geez, 20 feet barely is going to make it. Dang! I hope that I should have got a 30-footer for that. Whatever. All right, so these two guys, my pull cables, their job is done until I get back. That is just sort of sticking out there. Although I know I can't get much closer just because, you know, there's concrete right there. That's going to be ugly forever. I hate things that aren't freaking parallel. Bother, 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 bother. All right. Dope. Okay. Did not expect you to take a dive like that. I need to think about this for a minute. I'll be right back. Bonk. Nice. Gosh, I want to know if those are cranes or herons. Sandhill cranes, sandhill herons, sandhill something. All right. And I just got this super fancy 1.5 inch PVC U thingamajiggy clamp. Nice. Alrighty. That doesn't reach. Okay, that I can live with, I think. Let me make sure I can live with that. Look at that. It just decided to reach. I appreciate your team spirit there, pipe. Alrighty. Sweet. Nice. Let's fill in some dirt. No sticks allowed. As Mr. Scott says, the right tool for the right job. Alrighty. Okay, excellent. Next. So the next part is securing it through the wall. So let's go ahead and run these through. Tell you what, just so I'm not gooping up my wires, let's send them through. I was hoping to get this done and these terminated before all the sun went away, but it's feeling like that was a pipe dream. See what I did there? Working on pipes, pipe dream. I cracked myself up. There we go. Okay, as I was saying. And of course, this is to discourage bugs, weather, everything from getting in there. And I'll also goop that up before I totally seal it up, knowing that me pulling through the cables is gonna ruin it a bit. Goop up the hole like nobody's business. First, let's tighten these down because that's, oh, gross. That is how the bugs stay out of there. But I will still goop them up. Bloop. And I'm gonna goop up there. Just to make no bones about my thoughts on liquids getting and bugs getting in there. I'm not gonna goop up the pull string holes. I am gonna goop these up. All right, that went well. When you're dealing with outdoor, you always wanna make sure there's a low drip point. So like, if water gets onto this and drips, we don't want it to go down into the hole. We want it to stop there and just go bloop. I'm not going to film me terminating these. You've already seen that. It's a long process and it's dark in there. And you know my feelings on filming in the dark. So I'll be back with all of this being a smashing success. Okay, so I just crimped the ends of the solar cables on the inside. That went really well, really fast. Happy to say. So let's just go ahead and get this done. So I'll connect this side. I'll make that pretty later. All right, taking the inside under the bed. It's gonna be dark. This is us seeing this together for the first time, and don't always love doing this, but when it's triumphant, it's super triumphant. Alrighty. Let me shine a little light on here. That is crappy lighting. How about that? I'll just be my own, I don't know, gaff. We're plugging it in. 5 watts, 57 watts, 136 watts. Well, whatever. That is a freaking happy day. Breathing a sigh of relief here. This is much bigger than you think because I've been porting this outside. And this is not light at all. It doesn't even pretend to be light. Like I was saying inside, this is a big deal. Not only do I have this nice shady thing to sit under, my initial set of 100 watt panels, those had been charging the Pecron, which is my main power source, and it never kept up ever, especially on days like this where there's no sun. And then the 200 watt foldable things, those were for the Jackery, the big Jackery. But recently, because I was getting tired of my food dying all the time, and once I got the first set of these big panels, I just put all of those panels on the Jackery. Just one job, keep the refrigerator going. And that gave it a nominal 400 watts of charging power. It rarely gets anywhere near that, but whatever, it keeps up. That's the important thing. Which left the Pecron, which is the heaviest, to a 100% manual charging state. Either I had to drag it out with these guys and just kind of lean it up against the door, or plug the generator into it, and it was fine. These things charged up super quick on sunny days. So now getting these things up and getting that thing put through the wall means it's just going to charge. I don't have to ever bring it out here again, and I couldn't be happier. The goal is to make the Pecron the only power supply in there so that the Jackery can be freed up to go power tools and, you know, be manly. Yep. As you see, I, dressed the cables and made my service loop, and so those are all out of the way. So connectivity wise, we are done, and I'm thrilled to freaking death. And this is the big thing. I leave tomorrow, I'll probably be gone for at least a week, and I would turn off I turn off the Pecron just so it wouldn't go down to 0% because that's not healthy. But that meant none of my security cameras were on. Now they can stay on. Happy days. It'll be happier when I get the second set of panels here, because then I know for sure, even on cloudy days like this, it's gonna, at least charge enough to keep up with the security cameras. But we'll see. We'll see. Everything is we'll see. Who knows if it's going to be able to keep up with the security cameras and the refrigerator, in which case I'm not done with the Jackery. Anyways, the Hornet tells me it's time to go. See ya. So I just wanted to kind of wrap up this whole solar segment. This is almost electricity freedom. I just wanted to say thanks for coming along. I hope if this was instructive for anybody, great. If not, then family, I hope you enjoyed it. Kind of like the water thing, where finally I'm getting ahead of the curve to where I have a surplus of water. Now I have a surplus of electricity, which that's gonna be nice. Anyways, you guys be good. Leave any questions or comments you have. Stay safe. Talk to you later.